Hi, this is Dr. Jones. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to construct a forecasting chart. We're going to try to forecast stock price and do it with both a regular average and a weighted average. We're going to use stock prices because it's easy and free data to be able to get out there. We're going to use MarketWatch.com again to go collect our data. And don't subscribe to anything out there. We want free data, so that's what we're going to use. Click on the search, and I'm going to put in the first letter of my last name. And you'll notice if you saw my regression video out there that when I put in the first three letters of my last name, I was getting just the Dow Jones stock market, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to leave it with the first letter. You may have more options with your last name than I do, and you may go farther out and use 2, 3, 4, 5 letters of your last name, whatever. It doesn't matter, just as long as you come up with a stock that is publicly traded, and that's one of them right here. So I'm going to click on Jacobs Solutions. Takes me to their page. Click on historical quotes so I can pull up stock price data. And I'm going for 1 year's worth of data, 52 weeks worth of data. So I will click on the date range and choose 1 year. Update my results and then click on weekly, not daily and not monthly, but weekly. Daily would have too many data points, and weekly is the correct one that I want to use. So you'll notice that it's got every week in there, one day that it's pulling out. Now, because I'm doing just 1 year's worth of data and not more than that, I should be able to click download data, and it will give me a spreadsheet that I can click on. And here we go. I need to resize this to keep this in my window. There we are. Now, first thing that we need to do, we need to reformat this to sort from the oldest to the newest. You'll see it's in the newest to the oldest right now. So click on data and sort. Make sure its data has headers, so it looks for those headers. Click on date, oldest to newest, and then click OK. And now it's from oldest to newest, so we're in the correct order. Let's get rid of open, high, and low, and get rid of the volume column as well. And we are left with just the close column. That's what we want. I'm going to change my label on this to J, which is the stock ticker symbol for Jacobs. I could put Jacobs in there, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it with J. But now I need to do a 3-week average and then a weighted 3-week average to create my chart. So my header for this one is 3 week, and then for the next one is weighted 3 week. And there you go. So that I have the correct data for this, I'm going to click on the 3rd week down. I don't do it up in here because in these weeks you would not have known what the information that was coming was. So you need to go down to the 3rd week, and we're just going to do an average for the first one. So equals, type out the word average, open parentheses, highlight those 3 weeks, close parentheses, and hit enter. For the weighted 3 week, we're going to weight the 3rd observation more than the second or the first, and the second's going to be weighted more than the first one is. So how we do that, we have equals, and then open parentheses, and then a second open parentheses. You'll see why in just a moment. Then we're going to highlight the first of those observations and multiply by 1. Now, you don't really have to do that, but that helps us as a marker to remind us how many weeks worth of observations we're using. So then close parentheses. Then a plus, because we're going to add these numbers all together. Open parentheses. Click on the second observation. We're going to multiply it by 2. Close parentheses. Then another plus, open parentheses. Highlight the third observation, and we're going to multiply that by 3. Then close parentheses, and then close parentheses again. So we are doing all these operations inside of the parentheses here. If you don't have all of those, it's either going to give you an error sign or it's not going to correctly do the operations we want it to do. Okay, so first we want it to look at the first week once. We want it to look at the second week twice. And we want it to look at the third week 3 times. Now we could do the same thing here just by clicking the first one plus, the second one plus, the second one again plus, the third one plus, third one again plus, and third one again plus. That would do the same thing. But that's why we're writing the formula in this fashion. Now, because we have essentially 6 observations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we need for an average to divide this by 6. So that's what your formula is going to look like for the first cell here for weighted 3 week. Then click on enter. Now you'll notice your first 2 observations there just have 2 decimal points, but this one has 4. Well, we're going to even that up just a little bit. Okay, so let's do that. We highlight those 3 columns, not the first one, that's got our dates in it. And then we're going to choose number. Now, obviously, it goes straight to its default, which is 2. And we could leave it there. We could increase it if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. But you don't need to increase it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. I'm going to leave it at 3 decimal points here and just leave it there. Okay. So now I've got my 4 columns. I want to make them a little bit more uniform just for the niceness of look there. And so I made them each 12 pixels wide. Okay. So I've got my date correct. I've got my observations for Jacobs. And now I need to copy these 2 cells all the way down. And I do that just by highlighting them and then pulling them down. You could do it with the copy and paste function, but I'm going to do it this way. Now I need to create a chart. If before I highlight anything here, if I just go up and click on a 2D line chart, it will not necessarily give me the chart. It may just give me a blank space. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to highlight all of my data like this. Then I'm going to go up and do a 3D line chart like this. I'm just going to pull it over a little bit. And that's my chart right here. And you'll see the legend at the bottom has got Jacobs and 3 week and weighted 3 week. but they're all really close. It's really hard to see what the difference is between them. Now, if I click here on the first of these, it gives me some options. Normally it would just open like with this option, but if I click over on that chart part there, then it starts off with 0 at the bottom and 160 at top. But I don't actually need all of this space at the bottom. That's not only is it wasted space, it actually makes the chart difficult to read up here because there is such a wide berth of space here. So I'm going to make this, the farthest it goes down is about 80. Make sure on that, yes. So I'm actually going to change this. It goes not even down to 100 and it goes up above 140, so 160 up there. So I'm going to change this to not 1200. Typo there, 100. We'll get rid of that part there. Now it's a lot easier to read, okay? It's easier to see, a little more definition in between these lines. I could change, if I wanted to, I could change the colors of those lines. I'm not going to, but I could change. So if the color pattern that you have is not very good, please feel free to make a change if you want to. Please don't change it to things like this or like that. I want you to leave it without all that junk in there, okay? So we're not going to have all of that crazy stuff in there. I don't need all the crazy stuff. Let's see if I can pull it back in, because it's starting to give me a headache. I don't need data labels. Okay? So you just leave it like this. You don't even need the lines there, but if you had lines, that's fine. That doesn't matter. You don't need all that other. Now, sorry for that delay there for you, but that's okay. So don't put all the other junk in there. Just leave yourself with a nice, clean look. And now the last part is you need to interpret this. So it's pretty easy to do, just like we did with the regression one. Just interpret what the data tells you. Given what your stock price is, okay, do you feel that either one of these two averages does a very good job in giving you a forecast at where the data is going? You're essentially smoothing out the ups and downs to make it easier for you to try to make predictions. And just, I'm putting in junk here, but just type in what you have. 50 words or so to give a discussion of what you see in the data there. Leave all of the dates and all of the data and all of your formulas in, and your chart. Leave that in there, and then you save it. M4A1, last name, first name, and save it. And then post it up in the portal for this assignment. Make sure that you post it up as an Excel workbook. And there you go. Take care.